find a connection with soul like you have never breathed before. Yes, I welcome you to the place I call home. There is no other home. The home is where I am. I invite you there. Come and watch my video. Let me help you to breathe the breath of God. What is my dream tonight? It appears that I'm sitting at the door of my house, and I'm inviting people to come in to my house. And the way I present myself is the way in which visitors to my house would see what is taking place in my house. In other words, if I'm more open when I present myself at the door, then the visitors would be able to come in and see what's in my house. But if I'm less open in my presentation, they will see less of what is taking place in my house. But the interesting part of this dream is that I'm not only the person sitting at the door, I'm also the visitor. And as a visitor, not as the person sitting at the doorway, I began to question. I asked myself, is it the person at the door presenting himself to me? Or am I actually seeing a person at the door that I have taken a picture of myself? I mean, the person at the door is presenting himself, right? But who is taking that picture? I began to question. Is it me who is taking the picture, or is it him who takes the picture so that I could see him? And throughout the dream, it was a great puzzle. You will notice in a very simplistic interpretation of this dream, you see that the transactions of this world is basically between two opposites. And it's basically from the inside to the outside, and the outside to the inside. It would be like from the west transacting with the east, and the south transacting with the north. But there's one more transaction. The outward transact with the inward. And in a three-dimensional world, there are actually three pairs of opposites. But the most important opposite is the outward to the inward and the inward to the outward. And it's easier to transact from north to south and east to west. It's easier to do that. Because when you look at a person in front of you, you will see east to west, and you'll see north to south. You're looking at a body, and you're looking at the transaction between two pairs of opposites. But there's one more pair which is definitely missed out by most people, and that is the outward to the inward and the inward to the outward. This most important pair of opposites creates the three-dimensionality of the world you lived in. So if you're not able to engage between the outward and the inward to the outward, you're not creating reality yourself. What you see is only an image, a picture, but you couldn't see the inward and the outward. We have a pair of eyes because it's to enable us to view the inward and the outward. Without that pair of eyes, we will not be able to do so. No, if we have only one eye, we need a pair of eyes to achieve that transaction. Something very interesting about my dream is that the visitor going in is wondering to himself whether he's seeing a picture that is created by himself, and it was a puzzle in that dream. You see, what is happening is that when you look at the people around you, you only see pictures, you only see images. The inward part of that picture does not exist. It only exists in your own body, but it does not exist when you look at the world around you. It is inward and outward only to the extent that you walk towards Him. You have to take a step to move inward and outward. It's only inward and outward if you use your two eyes, so that your two eyes, through your brain, will manufacture a visual image such that there is an inwardness. In other words, the inward and outward aspect of reality only comes within you. It doesn't appear simplistically in the world that you see. And most people don't analyze themselves. If you refuse to do so, then you will never understand the universe you lived in. Because you only see it as an image, as a picture. You cannot see the inward part of the world you lived in. Then, when people analyze themselves, they don't really see the bad parts of themselves. All the bad parts of themselves, they will accuse it on another person. Right? So because of that, even your analysis of your own self is basically an image of yourself. You are not seeing a 3D reality of yourself. Because of the refusal to go inward to the place of darkness, a refusal to self-abase in the process of analysis. You simply analyze by accusing another person in relationship to you. That's not the way to analyze. So you never see where you have gone wrong. But I guess at this moment, I'm very, very sure that when you hear me, do you know what you're saying to yourself? Oh no, that's not me. You see, when I have a project, I would analyze in and out. And in that project, I would be analyzing where it has gone wrong. And in this way, I improve on the quality of my work and the project which I take. You will say that, right? But the point is this, you never analyze yourself, you analyze the project. You see, what you did was, you analyzed where you worked wrong in that project. Fine. But you see, it's the action of working on the project, and the project is something outside you. So you're able to analyze on something that is outside you. And you thought that you were sincere with yourself. But actually, you never really go into yourself and analyze your own emotions, your own thought patterns. You don't do that. Because when you do analyze your own thought patterns, you can see that sometimes you were fatalistic, sometimes you were self-accusing, sometimes you lack total self-confidence in who you are. You see all that. Because we are only analyzing the peripheral aspects of our life, we don't have to go to that level. That's why I hope you have the wisdom and the humility to self-analyze yourself. For only through self-analysis, going inside yourself, are you able to go outside to the world you lived in. And only when you can go inward and outward would you be able to execute your project, execute the world you lived in a proper way. Why? Because a 2D world is not reality. A 2D world is just an image. You can't hold on to it. And no matter how you engage in reality as a 2D world, you will never find the answer. You must make it 3D. And in order to make the world 3D, you have to enter inward into yourself. And that requires tremendous humility. If you think that you are able to do that, then right now I challenge you, go out to the streets and remove your shirt. What will you think? Well, how will you respond immediately? Immediately in your mind, you'll feel something has lost in you. Your cover-up has been lost. How is it possible that you were covering up all the time? Why is it that you are not able to remove your clothes? Why do you need to cover up all the time? You have to ask yourself. So you don't realize that, do you? You don't. When you go back home, even when you are at home, you may remove your shirt, but you don't remove your pants, do you? Unless you're doing a sexual relationship with someone else, you do not remove your pants, do you? But perhaps you do, but not too many people do. How is that possible? Ask yourself, how is that possible? What is it you don't like about yourself? Why you don't like yourself? That you cannot appreciate even your own body. Now, I'm not talking about the body, really. What I'm talking is that removing your shirt will make you realize that there is a cover-up. A cover-up so strong that it eludes you. So funny about the whole thing is that when you remove your shirt at the open marketplace, do you know what is your first reaction? You will think, what will people think of me? Notice you're accusing them rather than yourself. You're thinking that they are not mature enough to accept you as you are. Gosh. Instead of saying to yourself that you couldn't accept yourself as you are, you began to blame on them, and you began to say that they couldn't accept you as you are. Can you see the way in which our mind bullshit ourselves? That's why when Adam and Eve ate the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, they immediately sensed that they were naked, and immediately they did the cover up. They did the cover up. And what did God say? God said, where are you? Do you know why God said, where are you? It's not because God couldn't see them. God knows exactly where they are. But why did God ask them the question, where are you? It's because when they cover up themselves, they cover themselves from themselves. So they do not know where they are. The crux of the problem in the Adam and Eve story is not sin. It is not disobedience of God. It is the self closing itself from itself, and as a result, unable to see God and unable to see the truth within yourself. You have to relate to yourself if you want to relate with the world. And if you want to succeed in the world, you have to relate to yourself. That's why in this dream, the man at the door, sitting at the door, how he allows another person to go inside is dependent on his presentation to the people outside. How you present yourself to other people outside unmistakably determines how far you would allow other people to enter into yourself, into your own life. If you put on a very beautiful clothes when you talk to your friend can only see you with the beautiful clothes. Your friend knows that you will not invite him to your house. The friend knows that, because since you dress so well, how is it possible that you would allow him to enter into your own personal life? You won't. So notice very carefully and interestingly, your success in life has been dependent on your own action. It's nothing to do with the world, nothing to do with God, nothing to do with the accidents of life or the fate of destiny. Your own action has determined it, because you are not willing to be a 3D. You are only content to be a 2D. You cannot find your way in this world. And as God said to Adam, where are you? You are also saying that to yourself, I don't know where am I. And this is a feeling of dissatisfaction that we always face around us. You may be a champion. You may have great wealth in this world, but you're still wondering, where am I? You're still wondering, what have I done? Notice the word, what have I done? You may be doing a lot of things, but who is the I that is doing all those things if you don't know where the I is? You see, this dream is telling me that the man at the door, if he presents to the world a 2D presentation, the world cannot get into himself because he is a 2D image. So if you present yourself 2D to the world cannot penetrate into you, and you are alone. You're never been touched because your own being has never known itself. Follow my videos. It is my quest to bring you to yourself. That's all. In the process, you will discover success in your life as well. Because knowing yourself is knowing success. Because you are success. So before I close this video, I want to emphasize what I emphasized in my other videos. You have to look at my other videos because there's no full presentation in any single video. I want to say that you have to observe your thoughts. And who is observing your thought? Your thoughts is a 2D world. So who is observing your thought? Is the observer. But you need to observe from the true observer in such a way that you cover the beginning and the end of the thought. You have to do that. You need to observe in such a way so that the true observer within you is a 3D observer. And when it happens that way, the 2D thoughts become 3D. It turns breathed. And you enter into your own being like you have never understood before. Find a connection with soul like you have never breathed before. Yes, I welcome you to the place I call home. There is no other home. The home is where I am. I invite you there. Come and watch my video. Let me help you to breathe the breath of God.